Okay, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Dr. Kate Watson bringing you some sneak peeks of the upcoming book, Only Trying to Help, coming out this spring. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be slowly leaking some samples of the book. So if you want to stay on top of updates, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. It's also where I will be sharing some podcast content in between the seasons. So it's a good channel to have in your updates. Today, I'm going to be reading just a portion of the introduction, and sometime in the next few days, I will be adding more. The introduction begins with a Charles Dickens quote, and Charles Dickens says, "No one is useless in this world who lightens the burden of another." For at least a portion of my childhood, my father tended bar for a hotel restaurant in Philadelphia. Given that his tenure lasted through the mid to late 1980s, it should be no surprise that he had a thick mustache and poured his fair share of neon-colored cocktails. This was over 30 years ago, so I have long forgotten most details about the restaurant decor, the music on the stereo, and the fashions of the clientele. But I have vivid memories of watching him behind the bar, leaning against the polished oak while I ate my weight in maraschino cherries and dangled my 5-year-old legs from the bar stool. I embodied Norm from Cheers before kindergarten, so no wonder I was such a fat kid while growing up. Now, 30 or 40 years prior to that, probably around the time my dad was born, my great-grandfather was a barber for the locals in his Philadelphia neighborhood. Now, I obviously never had the chance to witness him cut hair, but to this day, sitting on my dad's basement office desk is a framed photo of my great-grandfather cutting his daughter's, my grandmother Dolores's, hair in his barbershop in the 1950s. And I know the image so well. He's only half smiling, like he knows the camera is watching and he thinks the whole photo op is ridiculous and embarrassing. If that photo had sound effects, you'd hear a person saying, "Come on, give a smile for the camera." And my great-grandfather would say, "Ah, geez, would you get out of here with that?" Still, he smiled. These men, my dad and his grandfather, were there to serve others, whether with cocktails, hot towels, or the inevitable relationship advice. They were helpers. Sometimes I like to imagine that over the years, my great-grandfather hosted hundreds, maybe thousands of customers who came in for a shave and a hot towel and to talk about their troubles, just as my dad hosted many travelers and strangers in the hotel bar of the Marriott Courtyard on City Line Avenue decades later. Both barbers and bartenders feel like American archetypes of brotherly love, not just in Philadelphia, where my family's story is rooted, but in all corners of our country. The bartender who says, "Tell me your troubles," is frankly my earliest memory of friendship and kindness between adults. So clearly, I'm not the first therapist in my family. I'm just, after 30 years of education and $100,000 in student loan debt, the first well-trained therapist in the family. Sorry, Dad. But if you think about it, informal counselors lurk around every corner, and most of them didn't get a degree or a fancy credential. It isn't just the bartenders and barbers who hear about the troubles of the world, but also teachers, coaches, neighbors, and colleagues we find at the water cooler. This book is for them, the everyday therapists and advisors among us. This is a book for people who like to help others, but are tired of screwing it all up. They're tired of feeling useless. They're tired of throwing their arms in the air in exhaustion and claiming, I'm only trying to help. Sure, the mom who completes her son's book report is only trying to help. The coach who screams, you can do better than that, at an athlete who lost the game is only trying to help. The friend who says, that guy is no good for you, you need to leave his ass, is also only trying to help. And the sister who casually says, you should try Weight Watchers, it worked for my friend, is also only trying to help. This book is for the people who want to confidently support a friend who's been diagnosed with cancer. This book is for the people who want to help loved ones grieve the loss of jobs, pets, marriages, and parents. This book merges what I learned over many years of advanced education with what I probably picked up from the bartenders and barbers in my bloodline to help you help others more effectively. I like to think of these highly researched skills as a form of scientific kindness. Together, we will walk through 8 chapters of well-meaning attempts at help. Chapter 1, well-meaning encouragement. Chapter 2, well-meaning compliments. Chapter 3, well-meaning apologies. Chapter 4, well-meaning advice. Chapter 5, well-meaning tough love. Chapter 6, well-meaning humor. Chapter 7, well-meaning gift giving. And Chapter 8, well-meaning lies. Within each chapter, you will find stories of success and failure, academic research, and tips for improving your relationships through communication, patience, and empathy.